Here we go.
So it makes sense.
Yes, fine.
We are back on MorningLine. I just learned something interesting. You know, when you sit next to, these folks, the lieutenant telling me, if there's blood at the scene of a wreck and the individual in that wreck is drinking, can you smell it in his blood?
If the concentration of the alcohol is significant enough, yes, you can smell.
So there's a blood spot there.
You can smell a difference in the blood, yes.
Absolutely.
I guess, like we were saying,
I've never had that experience.
But it makes sense. I guess it makes sense.
Yes.
Wow. All right. You would just think that'd be a very high level of alcohol in their system. Goodness. You know, you can drink very little and be, under the influence. I know that.
0.08, yes.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with it.
Correct.
So, let's go to next up is Brian. Hello, Brian. What's on your mind, Brian?
Hey, winter driving tips. I don't know if you guys went over them, like downshifting when you get in the snow, if you have manual, and keeping sand, or people can use kitty litter if they run out of salt.
I've used that.
And what are some other driving tips now that we're getting into the winter season real quick?
All right, real quick, basic stuff. Kitty litter, it's a good tip. Yep.
If you don't have a standard shift vehicle, which is, many people don't understand what a standard shift is, but if you have to actually manually shift the gears, that's standard shift. Take your vehicle out of overdrive, push the button and put it into drive. That takes your vehicle into a lower gear automatically. Keep your speed down. Don't tailgate the vehicles in front of you. Allow yourself ample time to get to where you're going. Also, make sure that you have blankets, water, some type of a non-perishable snacks in the vehicle in case you do forget to put gas in your vehicle and you're on the side of the roadway for a short time until the trooper or law enforcement or TDOT help truck can get to you. Just simply make sure you have good tires. Make sure you have good windshield wipers. Make sure you have a liquid in your antifreeze or windshield wiper reserve that will not freeze.
Yeah.
Do not put water in there because that's not going to work when you're trying to clean it. It's going to freeze. So then you cannot clear your windshield so you can clearly see through your windshield. But just common sense when you're driving in bad weather, whether it be rain, snow, sleet, ice, whatever, give yourself time. And if it's not an emergency trip, if you do not have to go out onto the roadway during inclement weather, simply stay off the roadway, and that totally reduces the chance of you having to need any assistance from anyone or having those items. But again, just prepare.
Yeah, good basic tips. Most of us know those, but you think about them and prepare. Because the cold weather's here. It's here. Let's go to Rick. Hi, Rick. Good morning, Rick. What's on your mind, Rick?
I just wanted to see if I can get a clear answer on this. If you are turning into a four-lane highway, 2 lanes going each way, and you have a turning lane, and the other side is the same way, are you supposed to go in the first lane, or can you go all the way over to the far right lane?
Okay, so you're talking about merging. If you're cutting across 2 lanes going into the turning lane, you now want to know if you can go straight over to the slow lane, or you need to go into the fast lane first. Is that correct?
Yeah, I guess.
It's actually if you are merging into another lane from a stop position, like a red light or something, and you are turning left, going over into the other 2 lanes, and the opposite side of the road, they have a yield sign. Well, are you supposed to go into the first lane closest to the turning lane, or can you go straight across?
I see. Isn't it the closest? Because when I'm turning right, I go close, and then I'll go a distance, and then when I see it's clear, I'll move over 1 more lane if I need to.
If you're turning left and you go in and you go into your lane of travel, so he's at a stoplight or a stop sign, he's turning left, he goes into his left lane, which is the quote fast lane. Right. So, and then if he's talking about traffic across who has to merge, who could be possibly turning right into that other lane. So this way you have 2 vehicles who could simultaneously enter into traffic at the same time. His vehicle being in the left lane, the other vehicle, if they did not yield, they could go into the right lane. So again, caller, good question, but yes, you'd go into the inside lane. The inside lane,
that's what I figured. Makes sense. All right, let's go next to Mike. Hello, Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I have a question about texting, which I believe texting is probably one of the most dangerous things we encounter on the road. But nowadays, technology has got to the point where you can take your phone, put it over the visor, put it in the seat, and you can talk to that phone as if it was somebody in the car, and receive and send text messages. Now, the two questions is, one is, if you have a wreck, you're just going to have a record of having on your phone that you were texting near or close to the time of the accident, but you actually weren't texting, you were just talking to the phone or talking in the car. Can you give me some I don't know, maybe some understanding of how law enforcement looks at that?
Okay. Yeah.
Again, like Ms. Tabson said, that there are numerous forms of distraction, and the state of Tennessee clearly states that you're not to be texting while driving. Whether you're manually texting or verbally texting, that is still a text message. You are still taking the focus away from your operation of the vehicle. So if you do have a crash while texting, whether you have your phone on Bluetooth or whether you have your phone on speaker, if you're driving and operating a motor vehicle, and that is where the failure to exercise due care law also picks up, where the texting law comes short. And the failure to exercise due care, many callers or viewers may understand what this is, but it's a simple rule. It's been on the books for many years, and it simply states that you as a driver are to give 100% full attention to the safe operation of your vehicle to prevent possibly being involved in a crash.
Okay.
So if you have the phone over your head on the visor, then you're talking or texting, and you may reach up to make sure that your text message was dictated correctly, then obviously you are involved in an incident, then you were not given safe attention, even though you were not manually texting.
And I would say, just from a behavioral standpoint, texting or speaking, even speaking on the telephone hands-free, is not the same as talking to someone sitting next to you in the car.
Correct.
And there are multiple studies that really demonstrate when you're sitting with someone and they're talking in the car, they're experiencing what you're experiencing. They have the visual cues, they have the physical cues of you, they can see the road, and they've seen time and time again in these studies that people will stop, their conversations will stop, they'll refocus the attention of the driver. And whether it's a text or a phone call, you don't have that. They don't know what your circumstances are, and so your attention is completely off of
That's a great
what you're doing.
Because at first I was thinking maybe it's safer because you could be distracted laughing with someone in the car or whatever, and on the phone it would be better. But I think that's a perfect point. They're with you, and if all of a sudden they see congestion, they can shut up and know that you've got to focus, whereas a caller doesn't know that.
Doesn't have any idea.
Correct.
All right, makes sense to me on that. All right, one thing I wanted to touch on too, as people are traveling this time of year too, we talked about move over, there's a lot of construction sites still out there. Roads at work and how you deal with that when you approach it, see it ahead of time, those types of things. I know that's part of Operation Incognito too, right?
Yes. This week is actually National Traffic Incident Response Week in addition to Operation Incognito. So you will notice that we are partnering with TDOT and other agencies not only to educate on the move over law, but also to enforce the move over law. And that applies to construction areas where you see that there is high levels of traffic and people may be distracted and not paying attention and possibly veer into areas where they're not supposed to be. Or it could be that there's a utility maintenance zone where they're just trying to do simple maintenance and people are distracted, not paying attention and hitting cones or hitting their vehicles. So this is a very multifaceted campaign, and we want to draw awareness to show that yes, distracted driving is an issue, but look at how it carries over into other violations. Look at how it carries over into other issues when you're not paying attention. And again, there's these three forms of distraction: cognitive, visual, and manual. We all need to pay attention to the technology that we're using. Keep in mind that we can tend to get addicted to it and be overly dependent on it, and we have to be aware. I mean, my biggest issue is emails. My work emails, I get so stressed about that. So when I'm driving, I have to leave my work phone in my purse because I know that if I have my work phone anywhere near my hand, I'm going to check it because my brain is telling me
the same way.
that I've got to check. I can feel it.
I'm the same way. So what you have to do, I mean, in your purse, or literally, I've put my phone before in my trunk. And it's there because otherwise it's like a damn drug.
It is. It is. And that's how your brain is reacting to it. There have been studies about how it affects the cortisol levels in your brain. There have been studies showing that the addictive app trade is very prevalent in the tech industry, where they're actually coding our mobile applications to draw us in to be addicted to these notifications, whether it's a Facebook app or it's a messenger app or some form of communication or social media. We're dependent on that app and receiving the notifications and receiving those likes, receiving those responses. So our brains are dependent on it, and it's becoming and influencing the chemical reactions in our brains. So keep that in mind. Look for the research that's out there, and again, visit our website, tntrafficsafety.org.
Parting shots, guys. We just got a minute left.
I think there's some great features now. You know, I know Apple's put a feature on the phone where you can turn it off and it'll say, "I'm driving. I'll get your message when I arrive."
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah.
In closing, just want to make sure everyone knows that Thanksgiving is coming up. Tennessee Highway Patrol, we are the national leader in this, but November 21st and 25th, troopers every 10 to 20 miles on all Tennessee interstates. That will be happening nationwide from California to North Carolina.
Wow, that's amazing. So
we're the leader in that nationally. So those 2 dates specifically are the 2 most dangerous traffic dates in the year. So keep it safe and just be as courteously as drive as courteously as you can for your other drivers.
Lieutenant, thank you for coming on. Ariel, you too. Doctor, thank you. This is great.
Absolutely.
You know, anytime. This is a good time to do this today, you know, for this holiday season, but I'd love to have you guys on again more frequently if you're willing to. You guys are terrific.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Thanks again.
Thank
I'll be
you.
back with a programming note right after this. Thank you, guys. I'm serious about that. I know how busy you are.